this time, we'll stand and pledge allegiance to the flag, and after that, Councilman Poole will give the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and unto the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, our wise and everlasting God, Lord, we thank you for a new year. Lord, we thank you for all you have done. You have blessed us the previous year. We ask your blessing this year. Lord, we ask that you will help us to do the right thing, to make the right decision. We ask that you will help us to build, not to tear down. Help us to understand one another. Help us to love one another. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, you all had a chance to read over the regular meetings, the minutes of last meeting. I'll entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
Oh, I just have one change if I saw.
Okay.
On the second page about the sixth paragraph down, it looks like maybe a line was omitted. It sort of ties in the airport loan with the police department bolo wrap. As though that was one grant or something. I think that was two separate grants. Is that? Do you see that?
State what you're trying to say for the repayment of the loan funds with the pay for it?
Yes,
But
that's correct. And
I
so
don't listen.
that was a repayment from debt that was owed. So 14,000 of the timber sale that the airport fund received was a repayment from existing general fund transfers that they had received.
Right.
And so that 14,000, once it was transferred back to the general fund, was then also used to cover some of the expense for the bubble wrap.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought that was a separate grant. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further amendments to the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as read.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, the next thing is new business. The first item on there is the Mayor's Task Force on Litter Prevention, Recycling, and Environmental appointees. We had a meeting prior to our last council meeting, and there were 10 people there that we have recommended the individuals to represent this group. The individuals are Patricia Rand, April Lane, David Hirlong, Karen Maston, Larry McLaughlin, Alta LeComte, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly or not, Susan Ingalls, Wendy Coring, Joseph Coring, and Steve Carl. Okay, we need a motion to appoint them.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carried. So they are on the task force on litter prevention. And that's something we need to really take serious. I mean, you look at these overpasses and getting on the ramps and all, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. So we need to take this seriously, in my opinion.
I hope we're not gonna wear out Susan. She's getting wrong. Mayor Stallings, I couldn't agree with you more. And in fact, I had talked to Corey about that very issue, and I was going to mention it tonight under the agenda items considered timely and important. I had the opportunity to travel by car some over the holidays to a number of different states, and I continue to have great concerns about the amount of litter at our exits. And I don't exaggerate when I say it was the worst that I saw of any exit in 5, 6, 7 states. There was one exit in Louisiana that came close. What I would like for either our newly appointed task force to look into, along with Corey, is to investigate how many of our exits are within our extraterritorial jurisdiction. And as to those that are in our jurisdiction, I would ask that Corey look into the procedure and the cost, perhaps, of getting some signs, both ingoing and outgoing, that say something simple and nice design, keep Edenton clean or something along those lines. And then beneath it, have a sign that says littering subject to $250 fine or whatever our ordinance calls for. If we need to take a look at our ordinance and strengthen that fine or add a fine, I don't know what it says yet. But I would like for us to look into that. It's a small step, and maybe if people are aware that there will be a high fine, and hate to say it, maybe one or two people get caught and have to pay that fine, it might make a difference. But I did notice that some of the exits when I was traveling in some of the towns had similar signage. And just look into the cost, Corey, if you can, and the procedure with DOT for hopefully accomplishing that if it's not too expensive.
I will, and as a follow-up for this new business agenda item, I will be trying to reach out to the group and set up a kickoff meeting to get started to go through the vision and mission statement for the group, as well as some of the objectives that council has seen, as well as some of the objectives that the citizens or the individuals from the group have seen. And we will try to give some type of update back to council, I'd say within the next 30 days as I guess our first initiatives will be. And this will be one of them, so we'll start on that very soon.
We used to have, when I was a child, we had our Cub Scout and our Boy Scout troops both had an area that we took over. And we,
And I know in the past, we have worked some with the police department on certain areas for some litter pickup. We've also worked with the chamber over the past couple of years with some litter pickup. And so we'll reach out to those organizations and all to find out what the good and the bad that they have learned from,
Corey, what we need to do is do this on a regular basis, because I've been on organizations that have picked up litter, and 3 or 4 days later, it's back to where it was again. Years ago, the prisoners
Yeah.
pick up the litter out.
Can't do
That's
that
something,
anymore.
can't do it anymore, it's something we cannot look at and
we can look into that and see. I need to actually discuss with population management through DPS to find out if any of the detention centers are allowing outside.
I certainly
water.
agree with
Follow up.
Councilman Hyde, it is a disgrace.
It is.
It really is a disgrace out there.
And I know that the town has undertaken this efforts in-house before with its public works landscaping division, and it's never ending.
I wouldn't be opposed to us looking at maybe putting a camera on maybe 1 or 2 of those exits. And if they see that we're getting behind it and we're serious about it, maybe they'll stop. But if we could put a camera on a couple of those, like you say, the OTJ, and get some license plates and put a hefty fine on them, I'm not opposed to that at all. So Corey, I don't know what those cameras would cost to do that.
And I spoke with Chief King about some of the license plate reader camera systems, and we have an idea of what those costs are. It's not coming to mind, but I know we do have those on file, and they're fairly recent costs, so I'll follow
Well,
up with the chief.
let's take a look at that and see how expensive it is.
And I will say this, I'm not for certain on this, I think it's DOT's responsibility, and I hate for us to have to do something that's their responsibility, but they're falling behind on their duties. And I think we can handle it quicker and better than they can.
they're not going to do it. I mean,
They're not, yeah, I agree, Sam, but
Okay.
Right next to the first exit coming into town this way, somebody had just busted a big bag, one of those big black bags, and it was everywhere. I mean, it
I
was.
saw that too, yeah.
I mean, you think people will just like stopping and throwing all the trash out of the car? I mean,
Some does blow out at back of pickups, I know that, but
But you can't tell me that they don't know that.
they know that,
They
they
know
can
that.
stop and pick it up.
Yeah,
Right. And we just need to take pride in our.
absolutely.
Well, I had heard one time, one of the excuses was we're rural population, and so many people throw their trash in the back of their trucks. And so the last couple times I've traveled, and I've been in other states that have rural populations also, they seem to not have as much trash fly in the back of their trucks as we do. If that's the reason. So,
Probably they're the same trucks that gun it down Main Street. You can't hear it, wake you up on Sunday morning.
But I will try to provide a follow-up on these questions and concerns
Thank
in the next 30 days.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Corey. Okay, the next thing on our agenda for, on the new business is Destination Downtown appointees. And Morgan, I'll call on you for that, if you will, please.
All right, good evening, everyone. Take this off so you can recognize me. I'm Morgan Jethro Potts. I'm the new-ish Executive Director for Destination Downtown Edenton. I started in the fall. I'm here to ask you to appoint Mr. Paul Hicks to the Destination Downtown Edenton Board. He has been a very active member for the past 8 years. His frame of reference, his wife is Betsy Vogides Hicks, and they have a little girl, Liva. She's 6 years old. He was appointed as chair for DDE this morning, pending council approval, and that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
So moved, Mayor.
All right, we got a motion.
Second.
Need a second?
second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of appointing Mr. Hicks as the Destination Downtown appointee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's done.
Fabulous, and thank you all for your continued support with DDE. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, the next item on it is the budget. We need a budget amendment for Old Hertford Road stormwater repairs, and I'll let Corey go over that with you.
Thank you, Mayor. I know this has been a long time project that I had started with Public Works, and we're drawing to an end here in my new role.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you, Morgan.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
I had met with the NCDOT Division 1 Division Maintenance Engineer in November to see about receiving a quote for DOT to help Edenton with the installation of stormwater recommendation improvements that we had received from one of our engineering firms, Seppi Engineering. And so we met that day to walk everything down on site, and we finally received a bid of January 3rd on behalf of NCDOT for $140,000 to do the work. We originally approached this project because of the initial bids that came in, and we're seeing this consistently across the board in multiple projects that we're working on, that the material costs from the private sector is so high right now that we have to get really creative in opportunities for us to save on some of these projects. This $140,000 bid from NCDOT is around $11,000 cheaper for the installation than what we had received on the private side. This also includes the traffic safety as well as the paving, as well as the traffic control during the project, which was not included with what we had received on the private side, so there would have been additional costs there. So for this, what we're requesting for the long-time much-needed improvements located at 155 Old Hertford Road, town staff recommends the budget amendment of $140,000 to allow NCDOT to perform the installation of one part of this project. The staff recommends the use of the private contractor to complete the second part of this project. This second part of the project is not part of this budget amendment. There were funds already set aside within the original town budget. This is in addition to that. These funds will be accounted for within our additional line items, and what we recommend is that we approve the budget amendment, and following this, we will have an agreement between the town and NCDOT to actually perform the work, and we should receive those forms tomorrow. And then we would sign those and get in a binding contract.
Just a question, Corey.
Yes.
Has Emma Godfrey, is she aware of what y'all are doing here? She was a lady who came before us
And is this the area that she was
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about?
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
great, that's awesome.
So just so she's aware,
And
Yeah,
we'll
we're
follow
progressing
up
on
with her and let her know where we are. I had spoke with Mayor Pro Tem Bond, at the end of December to let him know that we had met with NCDOT because of these high bids that we received on the private side, and that as soon as we had something from them to be able to compare, we would reach back out to Mrs. Emma and let her know what those values were and when we anticipate starting.
I appreciate that.
So we'll follow up with her as well, yes.
Because I see her a lot in town, and she's continues to ask me what's going on, and I said, we're moving on this. Seeing you guys out there, it's gonna mean a lot to her.
Well, thank you, and just know that this project specifically is really not only the bottleneck for that area, but it's the bottleneck for the rest of the system north of 155 Old Hertford Road that has prevented us from making some further improvements upstream. So this will really allow us to snowball north of her for overall stormwater system improvements for that entire system. So this has really been the big piece. And honestly, we did not account for material costs going up 400%. And so that's why we're at this point. The second part of this project, Mayor and I had spoken about, the piping cost had went from $1,000 a section to over $4,000 a section within the last 6 months. So we are feeling the ripple effect of logistic delays for materials coming in. But I will follow up with
Thank you.
Miss Emma.
She'll appreciate that.
Okay, so I guess we need to vote on the budget amendment, Corey.
Yes.
Okay, so all those in favor of the budget amendment for the Old Hertford Road stormwater repairs, please signify by saying aye. I guess we need a motion first.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. We have our budget amendment, okay? And now, section D, we need a budget amendment for Cbdg grant. Corey, I'll have to call on you again for that.
So on December 10th, the town received its official award letter for the Cbdg grant that we had applied for. This grant will be used to completely rebuild 3 homes in Edenton, as well as completely renovate 2 others. This is something we're very excited about. These homes are spread throughout Edenton's entire footprint, and we could not be happier to, as staff, to recommend the council approve this budget amendment. This grant will be coming from Commerce, and it totals $750,000, which will be used for the improvements for these homes.
Are these improvements mostly in the North Edenton area?
There are 2 in North Edenton. There is one along MLK. There's one along North Broad Street, near the high school, and I'm trying to remember where the 4th one was. I want to say there's actually
There's 3 in North Edenton.
3 in North Edenton.
One on Bond Street.
Bond, okay.
What street?
Bond Street. Corey, how will the contractor be selected for these renovation projects?
This is the first time I've been a part of a project like this. I would assume that they would go out for bid, and we would pick the lowest price contractor for the scope of work. They would all see the same scope of work, look at the homes, submit a bid on what their cost would be, and then we would make a decision and pass that along to Commerce and the project manager for this project.
Corey, I just want to thank you and Elizabeth Bryant, Councilman Coleman, for all the work you guys put into this.
And this is very exciting. I really hope to turn this into something that's as close to an annual opportunity for the town as we can. There's a lot of opportunity here for the town and its residents to benefit from this. And so we're going to make sure that we keep this very high on the priority list going forward.
I think the hope is it'll also attract some private investment as
Once they see
once
that.
they see these getting
Okay.
good stuff, so.
Corey, I'd like to echo what Councilman Miller just said, the last agenda item regarding Hertford Road and these CDBG grants you were just speaking of. I think it's important, sometimes we get accused, and I think sometimes rightfully so, of only concentrating on certain parts of town, and I think reaching out to Hertford Road and North Edenton and engaging in these type of projects is helpful for the town as a whole, but also is helpful to those residents in those areas who
Yes.
feel like they sometimes don't get the attention they deserve.
Yes.
But I appreciate it.
Thank you, and Elizabeth worked very hard with Roger on this prior to her, last days with the town, which we could not be, more happy for this opportunity for us.
And we've done this for years. I mean, we've always done this. I don't know whether we did it last year or not, but we've done this for,
And the legal municipalities gave us a shout out too on Facebook for the project that we did on
South Mosley.
Mosley Street, yeah.
That's great.
And
I don't just love seeing
I
improvements.
thought that
going
was
around
great
town.
that legal municipalities gave us a shout out for
That's great.
these projects like this.
And so what we would need is a motion and a second for this budget amendment to accept those grant funds.
I move we approve the budget amendment.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
second.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Okay, now we have one more budget amendment. For the purchase of fuel. Fuel has gone up $1 a gallon since last year when we bought it. And so Corey, you want to?
Yes, so we've been tracking fuel prices and we had anticipated some increase as we approach the end of 2019 or 2020 going into 2021. I did reach out to Mike with the Public Works Department, and just over a year ago, our prices between gas and diesel have increased 68 and 69% throughout the year. We did not anticipate this high of a fuel increase this past calendar year. So this budget amendment will allow us to get through to our June 30th fiscal year calendar end date. And this budget amendment will be in total for $50,000. And these fuel purchases are townwide, so this is all 5 departments that this funding will be allocated towards.
So you think that because of this increase in fuel, that it's gonna cost us $50,000 more than we had budgeted?
Yes.
See,
For the balance of this week.
okay, you heard him, I'll accept the motion at this time.
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, the next item is police radio purchase, a resolution and loan recommendation. Our police radios are over 20 years old, and they're having problems getting parts for them and this type of thing, so we have been requested to get new police radios, and I think Corey has got a loan agreement settled on. The total amount of the budget amendment for that is $83,382.25.
Yes.
And this budget amendment will be paid for with the loan proceeds totaling that same amount. And that's on a 5-year amortization, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And the radios are expected to last another 20 years.
Yes, and that's currently what we have now. We have aged out of well over a 20-year cycle in the life cycle of the existing police radios. This will allow us to retrofit, replace all the existing radios that these officers use. And Virginia, the finance director, opted to look at a 5-year term to go ahead and get these units paid off quicker than a 20-year note on a 20-year expected life of the radio. We do expect these to last that long as what we have now. And this should be a one-time or a 5-time payment for the purchase of these.
And Virginia's still giving us a debt service report
Yes,
on a monthly basis, okay, so.
yeah.
keep-
And I will make sure that,
I see we're spending quite a bit of money today.
Yeah,
Was it monthly or every 6 months?
That's
I think it was quarterly.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
all right.
And her and I spoke about that, and this, we wanted to try to get this before our quarterly report in March. So this will be accounted for. The resolution, it allows us to apply for the loan, and the budget transfer will allow us to take those funds to use, within the police department account.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, so you can go ahead and get your videos. All right, that completes our new business. The next item is, the items considered timely and important. Does anybody up here have anything that they need to bring before us at this time?
I got a couple things. We had that big storm and all that drainage in Pembroke Circle. What was that all about?
So
Did that get straight?
we are working with Contractor now. There were some bulkhead improvements that were being
Okay.
improved upon, and we are continuing to address that issue, and we have an outcome that will allow that to return to its draining normal state.
Got it, okay,
So-
okay, got it. And, then that area in the cotton mill right by the old office, that always holds water too.
I'll reach out to our new street supervisor and see if we can't do some crowning through there to get that to drain.
And we had talked about possibly paving those other 2 roads in the mill village that didn't get
Is that
paved.
Phillips Street and
Yes.
LA Street?
That's right. We have met with Trinity Paving at the end of the year, and they were advised on that. We will set up dates with them this spring to go ahead and get estimates in and see if we can't get them once winter passes. We have learned to not pave
Yeah.
during the winter months.
But that's still kind of ongoing.
Yes, it is, and just so you know, those funds have not been spent. We've purposely held those to try to improve some of those areas, particularly where drainage is at, is on one of those streets.
That would finish pretty much all the streets there in the Cotton Mill area, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yes.
We're gonna have another round of paving this year.
We have been working with the Wooten Company, and we have been looking at multiple options, as far as condition versus quantity, to see which one, cost-wise is the most effective for the town. As soon as we get cost estimates in, town staff will be, bringing forth some type of recommendations based on Wooten Company's estimates for renovation. So yes, but we're not at that point. We just had our, last meeting with them the week of, Christmas holiday and New Year's holiday. We met with them that Thursday, and that was part of the discussion, was when we would be receiving the cost estimates on, what we would call phase 3 for our paving.
Can we do some begging with the state to pave Broad Street?
We have been working with the state. There are about 6 locations where there are utility improvements that have to be made prior to the paving. I have been working directly with the district engineer out of the Williamston office who's heading up that project. And we are continuing to work with them. The time frame, I do not know, but we will see them in very soon making the utility improvements. But as far as the paving schedule, that has not been let yet. So, but I will find out.
And I keep getting calls about the parks in the mill village that Preservation of North Carolina wants to donate them to the town. And I don't know whether that's what the people, I would only want to do that if the town, if the people that live over there want to do that. And I wondered if we ought to just try to have a hearing one night and invite them in to say what they want to do, because I don't think Preservation North Carolina's been necessarily keeping them up to a standard that we might. I mean, even with this bamboo running loose over there, I mean, it's just a lot going on. But I don't want to do it, if they would rather it stay in Preservation North Carolina's name, I mean, I think that they're the residents and they ought to have a say-so.
Okay. And I do have a point of contact with them, from when we did the second phase of the paving and the, sewer improvements. We had to reach out to
Yeah.
Preservation NC, and so I'll reach back out to them and kind of rekindle that.
But I'm not just worried about them as in about the residents. You want to make sure the residents want that.
Okay.
I think that's more important.
All right.
Man. Corey, just one quick issue. The speed limit monitoring sign on the 200 block of West Queen has not been operating correctly for about 2 weeks now. It's there, but it's.
I don't think it's ever operated.
It's there, but it's not operating.
We purposely left the speed off.
Oh,
It's
okay.
operating and data logging.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's what, Corey?
It's operating and data logging. It is not displaying the speed.
Okay.
And the purpose of doing it that way is,
To get truthful data.
Okay.
okay.
And I don't know if y'all seen those speed bumps they put in Elizabeth City, but they're just horrible to drive over. I mean, they've got them all down those main streets going into the
Yeah.
water. Have you ridden across them?
Yes.
No, I haven't
I
seen
mean,
it.
they're very, you can't go around, everybody's trying to avoid them. And
It's in the downtown area,
in
not in the
downtown area.
neighborhoods.
Yeah, in the neighborhoods.
Oh, in the neighborhoods, okay. I haven't seen them.
They did both.
Okay, has anybody else up here got something that they need to bring before us at this time? If not, we'll open it up to public comments. Anybody here to address the council?
Well, I'll make a comment. I had, I'm Susan Ingalls. I appreciate being on yet another committee for the town. But my main interest in coming this evening was understanding that there would be a motion brought this evening for the council to accept the recommendation of the Human Relations Commission on removing from here the Confederate statue. Am I wrong? Are y'all not gonna attend to that?
Mike, I'll let you take that.
Susan, the matter was brought up in December at our
Yes.
regularly scheduled meeting. And we had indicated, you're not going crazy, we had indicated that we would be discussing that matter tonight. And we made that statement thinking that we would have our committee meetings like we normally do at the end of each month, discuss it, hash it out, and then move it forward with some sort of recommendation for tonight. Because of the holidays, we did not have our committee meetings, and so that's going to be scheduled for committee at the end of this month, and then scheduled for the February regular meeting. So you're not going crazy, and
Well,
we're still on it.
Good, I'm
Okay.
glad you're still on it.
Yeah,
I
we
do
are.
really appreciate this council's taking the responsibility and forming that Human Relations Commission, and now I appreciate that you're gonna listen to it. So good, thank you.
Anyone else? Tammy, go ahead.
Good evening, I'm Jessie Rivers. I'm also here for the same reason that Susan is. We had heard or had an understanding that the issue about the statue would be addressed. But since you invited me to speak, I'd like to just say, as a resident of Hawthorne Road, I really sincerely appreciate the council keeping Batham Road open to Virginia Road. I know there's still work to be done to get it looking better, etc., but that really is very much appreciated. that we don't have to go, you know, sort of out of our way to get into our neighborhood. And we'll be back next month.
That worked out real well, that,
Yeah.
the way they did that, it worked out very well.
And
Although that brings up something for me, we need to redo our standards for building those buildings like that, because that building that got built is not what we're gonna get.
We got some two-tone brick there.
I mean, you know, I think that of all the places to put a mural, that's the place we need it on that, you know, on those walls, because
That lighting
it-
is terrible.
yeah, I mean, you look down the street and you see this alien building sitting there that's not of anything that
I hope all
that we
landscaping's gonna
bargained
work, too.
for. So, anyway, I mean, you know, I don't know how it worked out, but it just didn't work out like it should have. But maybe we can encourage them to do something to make it look better.
Okay, and
Because
I,
it's the, you know, it's the other end of our main street.
and I will reach back out to the developers as well as the contract company to give you an update on that. We did share, there's been some concerns and questions regarding the home and some of the spoiled
Yeah.
material that was staged there from the construction. We did share 4 local contractors with the developer as well as the primary contractor for that. And they are actively pursuing, trying to get that home lot and those spoils cleaned up. And that was one of the items that I had received for time and input. So, one of the contractors actually called within the last 2 weeks to let me know that they had shared a bid price with them, and as soon as they knew something, we may or may not be working together with them.
Yeah, and you can even see where the white of the roof goes up on that little tower part from the other side. I mean, it's just, I don't know how that, you know, I don't know how we ended up with that.
I don't see how a company like that could allow having 2 different colored bricks on their building. I just, you know.
Encourage them
that
to
is not-
paint it.
That is not a small outfit.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Or ivy or something.
It might be.
Yeah, ivy, you know, it'd be great.
Anyone else to address the council? Okay, if not, that completes our,
I do have one other thing. We approved the budget amendment, and we need to go back and actually approve the loan resolution and the agreement between Southern Bank to apply
Oh,
for
we
that
did
loan.
I think you think you're right, you may have skipped over that, yeah.
okay, all right.
So move, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. And that completes our agenda, and I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mayor.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're dismissed.